this is the gauge swatch that I did for the Wasp Wing Tunic. And if you look at this, you can see that I've got 3 reverse stockinette stitches in here, and then the wings are decreasing next to the body. And then I have shaped the top of the body of the wasp by doing a decrease on the right side and then on the wrong side. And when I first developed this pattern, I did it on a pair of socks, so you were always working on the right side. But with working this on flat, as in this tunic, that means that I'm going to be doing a decrease on the wrong side of the work. And that always requires a bit more thought than doing one on the right side, because you don't do it very often. Now, I have worked almost to the end of the row, and here's my last wasp. And you can see these things really are enhanced by blocking. This is linen yarn, and linen yarn is not very stretchy, and when it blocks, though, it is lovely. And I'm almost done with the back of the front of this tunic, so I've got a large part of it. Now I'm going to work my last wasp, and here's the wings. And the way that this pattern works, if you look at the chart, is that I have a yarn over, okay, that's what's differentiating the wasp, and then I'm going to do a decrease. And you can see that I'm down to a knit stitch here and 3 purl stitches. And in order to shape the top of the body of the wasp, I'm going to decrease this knit stitch and then this purl stitch. And I'm using an SSK on this side because that is going to put the knit stitch on top of the purl stitch. I'm going to knit my purl stitch, purl the next stitch, and then I have a knit over here and a purl, and if I were to use an SSK, then that purl stitch would be on top. So instead I'm going to do a knit 2 together, and that puts the knit stitch on top, and I've shaped the top of the wasp. Now what I need to do is to do a double decrease, and if I waited until the next right side row, I wouldn't get that nice rounding of the wasp top. So what I'm going to do is do a double decrease on the back side of the wrong side of this work. Now the decrease that I'm going to use, and if I get my gauge swatch here again, is one where the knit stitch overlaps the center stitch. So this isn't a central double decrease or an S2 K1P. This is the one where I have the stitches on either side over the top of the center stitch. And I'm going to be doing this on the wrong side of the work. So I'm going to work up to, by the way, for this project, because of this decrease and also the kind of bobble nup that we do, you need really sharp needles, and particularly with this linen yarn because it's not stretchy. Got this cable in front of me. Go away, cable. All right, so there's my selvage stitch that I'm going to use for my seam. There's a knit, purl. These are the wasp wings I'm doing now, and I know I'm going to get close to where I need to do the double decrease when I purl the yarn over. Okay, here are the 3 stitches. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to purl together the first 2 stitches, and then I'm going to adjust the mount of the next purl stitch. And the reason I'm doing that, if I don't adjust the mount of that stitch, then my decrease on top is going to be twisted, and I don't want that. Then I'm going to slip that stitch back to my left needle, and I'm going to slip the stitch to the left over the stitch I just purled together, and I'm going to tighten it up, and I'm going to go on my merry way. And I'll do one more of those. So the step is to purl the 2 together, slip the stitch to adjust the mount, and then transfer the stitches that you purled together back to your left needle, and then slip the stitch to the left over it. Okay, I'm back to where I need to do the double decrease. I'm going to purl these 2 stitches together. I'm going to slip this stitch to adjust the mount. I'm going to transfer this stitch back to the needle, and then I'm going to slip this guy over it, and then I'm going to slip that stitch back to my right needle and go on my merry way. Now, when I finish this up, I'm at the point where I'm going to be doing the little nup bobbly thing, and nup, I don't know how to pronounce it, and I have a video for that, since I do it a little differently than you might expect.